United States and in Georgia, but they have stabilized to a point where they haven't dropped. So the good thing is they haven't dropped, but they haven't gotten better. What concerns me most is that math and science scores have dropped substantially, and specifically in the southern United States, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, South Carolina. The scores on math and science have dropped to a point where my concern is COVID-19 through at least the middle to the end of 2021 will continue to persist, meaning our children, for the most part, will have to continue to operate from home for at least another semester. If that happens and reading and math and science scores continue to drop, my fear is that there will be a 3 to 5 year gap in education for our children that they must make up. And as we all know, automation is fundamentally transforming the world, not just Georgia. So a quick example of that is 3.5 million jobs in the United States that are vehicle-driven jobs. Autonomous driving will take that. So trucking jobs, Uber, Lyft, taxi services, these jobs will begin to disappear because autonomous driving is going to replace so much of the industry. We have to put safeguards in place now to protect that work, but also to make sure our children and our communities are educated to the point that they can address it. Lastly, small businesses and telemedicine. Many of our elders in our community that don't have access to the internet, they have telemedicine opportunities that are being lost. So if you don't have connectivity and you're disabled or you're elderly and you depend on those means, if wireless broadband has an impact, especially in these homes where children are, their parents now run the risk of even more damage that can prove irreparable. And I think the biggest problem we have with that is as unemployment rises and disconnections rise with the president not signing the most recent legislation to allow there to be unemployment benefits, that is going to cripple many in our communities. If we don't change that and we see a trend going in that direction with a lack of connectivity, we may see dropout rates increase in the state of Georgia. It's not the best answer. It's not the answer I want to give, but it's the reality of the time that we're in, which is why our communities must stay together.
Okay, Betty, I have a quick question, if you let me.
Go ahead.
Okay, good. Thank you. I have more of a comment than question because, I've been around for a while. I've participated in a number of election support and contribution. One comment I have, and if you can give this message to the Senate candidates as well as other candidates in the U.S., as much as you ask for our fund, you need to ask for our ideas. I repeatedly send messages to campaigns. I'll give you money. I'll donate voluntarily. Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, gives you 280 characters. Can they give us 100 characters of ideas we can give them? Ideas we are passionate about? Solicit for ideas from the electorate. Our goal is also to have an informed and educated electorate who can ask smart questions. And I want to give a chance, if Betty allows me. We have 3 speakers, Dr. Jennings, Dr. Brook, as well as Professor Brook and Professor Senbet. If they can ask our candidate question, if they have it, I want to give the podium for them through Betty, and then after that, we might entertain 1 or 2 questions. We have to give the podium to Warnock campaign at exactly 7:45. We have 6 minutes to ask a few questions. Go ahead, Betty.
Dr. Jennings, I believe he raised his hand. Go ahead, Dr. Jennings.
Thank you so much. I just want to say to my friend and colleague, Daniel Blackman, I'm really, really proud of you. And thank you. I remember you would come to the People's Agenda meetings and the other meetings, and to listen to you now, it's like you're the professor. Having said that, how do you think we're doing right now at this stage, 9 days out from the election? And given the record breakthrough for the Democratic Party in Georgia, are we expecting, I'm sure you're going to win, but should we expect that some of these other these constitutional offices where there are, I think, 9 of them, all white males. Do you see that changing in any way in the near future?
Which constitutional offices specifically?
The governor, the lieutenant governor,
yes.
the secretary of state.
Yeah, in 2022. Yes. So I'll answer the question. Number one, I'm very optimistic. I'm optimistic because of rallies like the one that was in Stone Mountain today. We're seeing groups that have, to the point that was previously made, we can't just ask for votes. We have to ask for participation and for ideas. We're traveling around the state, myself, Warnock, and Ossoff, and we're seeing crowds of people that are motivated and excited. If I had to say today what I think the outcome of the election looked like, I think that there is a slight margin that Democrats will win, and I think this will be a historic election. On average, runoffs do not reach general election numbers in a midterm election or in a presidential election year. We have already surpassed the voter count from the previous election on November 3rd for early voting. We have surpassed the early voting numbers in this current space for the runoff that we had 2 months ago. So we're very optimistic because we know that those numbers usually favor Democrats for early voting and for mail-in voting. What I would say is to not lax that hold. That is why this community is so critical. Joe Biden won this state by 12,000 votes. There are tens of thousands of registered inactive voters in the state of Georgia. Calls like this are not only meaningful, but we have to listen to your ideas. We have to support and hold us accountable. When we win these elections on January 5th, those individuals should be right back on the call the following week to make sure that we're setting measurable goals. So I am optimistic. I do think that we're slightly ahead and that is trending towards us because younger voters have registered at very impressive rates. And we think that communities such as the African community, Caribbean community, we think those communities understand the importance of their vote in this particular runoff. So I would think that we're doing well, but we cannot take our foot off the gas. We have to continue to work very aggressively and make sure that we expand that margin and not allow it to be too close.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay. Professor Senbet.
Thank you, by the way. It was a very informative presentation. I was just wondering if you are or your community is playing a role in enhancing awareness of opportunities in Africa among the youth African Americans. Because there's a lot of emphasis on the youth in Africa. A lot of them are highly innovative, very digitally skilled, and the biggest issue are resources. And wouldn't there be some kind of synergies that could actually develop between the African American youth and Africans? Is one question. And the second is, as I mentioned earlier, the U.S. current policy of Africa is very driven by China. I know that my friend Ambassador also mentioned that. I really think that that is very reactive, and it really deprives of opportunities all over within Africa that all of us can actually benefit, including African Americans. So I was just wondering if you're actually playing a role in that respect. And then somebody mentioned Prosper Africa, for instance. That's one avenue. So that's my question. Basically, two questions. One is influencing U.S. economic policy towards Africa in a way that is not China-driven. Okay. And
yes.
Secondly,
Well, number one, let's be very clear and honest. The U.S. foreign policy has not done as much as it should have done. And I know this for a fact because I know that China's influence in Africa as well as in the Caribbean has really set back a lot of countries, and the policies aren't in alignment that we can have that are more progressive to invest and drive more investment in those areas. And one example I'll give you, my background is investment and family office. one of my very close friends and partners has $100 million fund, and he is from Ghana. And we actually are already driving investment in Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa. So prior to me running for office, I was already driving investment on the solar and clean technology side, but also in creating business incubators between South Africa, Ghana, and the United States. That's something that I'm actively doing, and that's something that will translate into my work as it relates to energy opportunities throughout Africa and throughout, many of the Caribbean countries as well, because I think that there's an opportunity for connectivity. The only other thing I would say on the policy side is that we have to hold the incoming administration at their word. We cannot just go from an indictment against Mr. Trump to allowing the Biden-Harris administration to function in a way where they're not held accountable. And I think that starts within the first 100 days, what the agenda is and the plan to clearly articulate the barriers and the boundaries that have really impeded opportunities, not just in Ethiopia, not just in Ghana, but all over the diaspora. We have to address those issues, but have sound international policy and a foreign policy in place with the right Secretary of State that's going to address those issues and not just give lip service. We have a 4-year window. We have to take advantage of each of those years and make the right investments that are long-term and not short-term in thinking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Meti, take it. We are on schedule at 7:46 to get the Warner campaign to get started. If Mr. Blackman could stay here for a few minutes,
yes,
we'll be honored. And I really appreciate for honoring our community, Mr. Blackman.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Mr. Blackman. Thank you for the questions and comments. Now we will move to the next person who will be speaking from Reverend Warnock's campaign, Ms. Samia Abdulle. She is the coordinator for Immigrants and New America Outreach Coordinator. I met Samia 3 weeks ago, and we've been working together, and she has been putting me to work from day one that I met her. She's a very hardworking sister from Somalia, and I will give her the floor.
Bettelhem, I appreciate you so much. Greetings to everybody here. I appreciate you, my other brothers and sisters from the diaspora. And thank you so much for the African communities and for the Ethiopian community for organizing this, and for Zeke and all the work that the worldwide Ethiopian diaspora puts into this work. This is not an easy work. It's a must-do work for all of us. This is the final push of getting the vote out and getting to our relational organizing, getting our people out to go and vote. This is exactly what Bettelhem and I do every Sunday morning. We're outside an Orthodox church. She's talking in whatever language those communities speak, Amharic, Tigray, and we solicit talking to them about why is it important to vote. So I just want to urge you and continue to support. You've already been shown invested a lot of energy canvassing between the Eritrean and Ethiopian for Georgia, and all the work that you already been doing. I appreciate Yonas, the executive director of the agency, the Ethiopian community, for all the work that he also puts into getting the young people on the ground. And I cannot tell you how amazing it has been working alongside. And this campaign is going to continue having you in mind. And I know that you are soldiers on the ground, your feet and energy on the ground. So we want to really appreciate you for all that you do. Your turnout today was amazing. I saw the Eritrean community, the Ethiopian community, the diaspora community in numbers. In gratitude for your support and coming out today. And this is the first rally that was driven for the New Americans. And I want to remind you again that the Warner campaign is a grassroots campaign, and it sees and feels the energy of the community and is there to be with you throughout. So with that, I know that you had questions in mind, but I also wanted to talk about ways to rally our support and make sure that we have rolls to the polls. We talk about that all the time, myself and Bettelhem and others. We need to get our community out to vote. We need to make sure that each one of us is touching somebody. We are a community that is relational. So we need to use our relational organizing to be able to get every vote out and make sure that our people are showing their support. This is a statewide Georgia election, so we know we have pockets in Savannah, we have pockets in different places. We need to reach out to wherever our community, Ethiopians and Eritreans and other diasporas are, to get them out to vote. That will not be done without your support, and your support is really much valued and appreciated. I just want to say that up front. And with that said, I want to make sure that, if you have questions about ways to get involved, you can ask me those questions. If not, I can make sure that I can answer anyway. If any of you are not sure about where to go to volunteer or to, you can join us to Canvas. We do a lot of Canvas launching in the community. So you can go to Warnock for Georgia. And over there, there's like ways to get engaged. So, that is just a ways for you to get engaged. And I know Bettelhem has actually been canvassing. One of the things that I want the community here on this platform to know the work that you have been doing, the canvassing. And I always get an update, like how many door knocking happened, and I'm always, my heart sing when I hear 300 doors every weekend, right, that you guys knocked. And the canvassing and the work that is happening on the ground is not taken for granted. This is work that must be done. And we need those 3 people in these offices, Daniel Blackman, Reverend Warnock, and Asaf. We need those 3 people in order to change the dynamic of our country, to change the dynamic of our livelihoods. So with that, if there's any way anybody has a question about ways to get involved or ways to get in touch with me, please go ahead.
Okay. So is Erica going to join us today?
Yes, Erica, is she in the waiting room? Can you check?
I don't know. There's no waiting room. She's in. She needs to continue. If you can introduce her.
Yes.
Erica is here. Yes, please introduce her. She's unmuted.
Yes. Erica, she's unmuted.
Yes.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hi, how are you? So now I want to introduce Erica Pines. She is a senior advisor to the Warnock campaign, and she is an amazing, tremendous resource for you guys. I'm really pleased for her to join us tonight.
Hi, I just first want to say thank you for having us. Thank you for your support on this most important journey in Georgia right now. I want to thank the Ethiopian Community Association of Atlanta, the Ethiopian Civic Association Network, and the Diaspora Network. And I just wanted to say that it is an honor and a pleasure to be here today and to thank my fellow co-worker on this campaign for all of her hard work and diligence by ensuring that we are intentional with engaging all communities on this campaign. Today, when we were out in South Fulton and DeKalb County, we noticed that our campaign and our team is a multicultural organization. Our staff is multicultural because we're running this race to support all Americans, not just some people and not just a specific group. So it is indeed an honor to be here tonight representing Warnock and representing what this campaign will do once we're elected on January 5th for equity and for wage inequalities, for inequities around the state, and for things that are dealing with immigration, mass incarceration, the high cost of education. Once we elect Warnock and Asaf, we would then give the power to our fabulous Vice President-elect Kamala to break the tie that will exist in Congress. And with that tie break, we can start to undo some of the wrongs that we've seen over the past couple of years. So just thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure again to be here.
Okay. Question time, question and answer, Bettelhem. Again, our Q&A session is going to give priority to the subject matter experts or presenters and then to the general public.
So do we have time now for anybody to ask questions? Zeke?
Yes. Any of the presenters first, and then anybody raise your hands or just jump in. the question and answer period for Warnock campaign. We have technically, they have up to 7:15. ASAP campaign will take over at 7:15. But in the meantime,
8:15?
Yes, 8:15, sorry. And in the meantime, since we have a few minutes, I want to thank the Warnock campaign. And if, Betty, if you let me give the podium to our friend Teddy to recognize a couple of executives from DeKalb County. Tedros, Mr. Tedros, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? Here. And let's recognize our guest, please, from DeKalb County.
I believe Josephine.
Josephine
is online.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Josephine. How are you?
Hi. How's everybody?
Wonderful.
Okay, so far. And I don't know. Go ahead, Josephine.
Please introduce yourself, Josephine. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I am Jo Handy Sewell from DeKalb County. I am chair of the DeKalb Democratic Women. I'm also a state committee chair for the DeKalb Democratic Party. But most important, I am a dear friend of Samia and wonderful Daniel Blackman, and also the other two Senate candidates, John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. I can attest to these three gentlemen's integrity, honesty, inclusion, their heart for all peoples, and I'm going to add that S onto people, all peoples. I absolutely am in total support of the diaspora. I know that within each of your cultures and each of your organizations, there's great diversity. But one of the things we must understand is that we are all in this boat together now, y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
We may have come over on different ships, but we all in this boat together now.
Yes, ma'am.
The haves, the have-nots, and the wannabes. It does not matter your station in life. It does not matter where you came from or what you had before 2020 hit. We are all affected by the people we elect. Voting has consequences. I heard earlier an interesting observation that Africa was very much supportive of some of the past administrations. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, Republican administrations. And I asked the question, why? And I got the answer in my head from the Father, from the Almighty Father. Anytime we put finances over people and faith and doing the right thing, we will be doomed to right where we are now. I asked the Father, why is it that you allowed COVID to go all over this world? High places, low places, places we never heard about. And I got another answer. He said, I am tired of this world treating the least of these like animals. One of the richest countries on earth. Some of you have come from there. And we have children in those countries eating out of garbage cans. and suffering from malnutrition and dying from curable diseases, not having fresh water. God is not pleased with that. And then we get to countries like China that all the United States manufacturing went to. And you can't walk down the street in China. Children couldn't even play in China 5 years ago. They were wearing masks 5 years ago because there's so many plants that the air is contaminated. When COVID first hit and all of us had to stay at home, I don't know if any of you all saw how the before and after pictures in China about how the air was almost clearing up. The skies were blue. Nobody can do that but God.
Thank you, Josephine. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting you. If you can just wrap it up in 1 minute, please.
I'm sorry.
I give the campaign question and
but I am so glad for this organization. I'm so glad for the people on here. We have some great people we can elect that can change all of this. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, one question for the Warnock campaign before his campaign staff leaves us, because they have other engagements. For Warnock campaign, to our sister from Somalia, Samia, and of course the campaign lady. Anybody raise their hand? Any of the speakers? Anybody from the public? Okay.
That's a good testament. That's a good testament to our campaign. That means we've been answering all your questions along the lines.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah. So that means we're good. We're good.
How about a comment?
Okay.
I have a comment and a question for you.
I hope comment.
Okay, good. I hope just Teddy. Give me 1 second, Teddy. Okay. I hope the Warnock campaign will be represented, even for a few minutes, even through a video, for our final grand finale for the January 3rd Sunday between 6 p.m. and 8:45 final session. Teddy, take it for your comment.
I live in Gwinnett County. I was very, very impressed the groundwork that the also campaign has done. My daughter did not, she was in another state, but she was here for the holiday, and she's the only one she didn't vote. And they came in particularly looking for her, and I was very, very impressed how effective, what they are doing. So, make sure that things is going to be in our favor on January 5th. Okay, that's all I want to say. Really, it was a fantastic job.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Very impressed.
Give our message to Reverend Warnock, please, for January 3rd.
Yes, I will. We noted it. And we just want to let you know, thank you for those comments on the ground game. Just to let you guys, in a quick summary, we have about 100 organizations on the ground. Many are from out of state because the country is looking at this race so that we can change the trajectory of some evil things that have happened over the past 4 years. So we have a lot of organizations on the ground. We're knocking tens of thousands of doors, making tens of thousands of phone calls. We have ground games in all the major counties around the state, and we're just looking for a fantastic win. We need your help to make sure that people don't go into slumber during the holidays. We know that 2020 has been very rough and tough on a lot of folks, but we just need to keep at it. This is the final week of early voting. We need to push as many people out to continue what we've started doing this early voting time period, and to also show up on election day. And like I said, it's a pleasure to be here, but we still have 8 more days before we can get this done. So we just have to keep encouraging folks to keep voting.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Z, can I ask Erica before she leaves?
Go ahead.
Sister
Go ahead.
this latest move by President Trump, not signing the stimulus package and vetoing the defense authorization bill that's likely to shut the government down. How is the Warnock campaign responding to that, given that Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler have gone on record, they're even running commercials saying that they supported a bill that hadn't even been passed?
Well, we're in a hurry up and get here January 5th mentality, because we know that once he's elected, because this is a special election, he goes into office immediately. So we're in a hurry up and get here January 5th so that we can break any ties. We can get up there. We can get relief to the folks that need it the most. We all know when you're busy, time flies. So we need to have everybody be very busy over the next week so that time will fly and we can get this done, get Ossoff and Warnock and Daniel Blackman sworn in so that we can start getting relief to the people. That's where we are on that. Thank you.
Well, somebody said Trump just signed the bill.
He just signed it. He did.
Oh.
He just signed it at 8:00. It's breaking news on CNN for what it's worth. For what it's worth.
Thanks
for that update.
Thank you, Warnock campaign. You are free to stay. You are free to leave. We're going to continue utilizing our time, which Samia, your friend, pushed us to be on time. Samia, do you have any comment about our punctuality?
I want to thank you so much. Me and Zeke push and pull on each other, but that's love for the community. Okay. I appreciate you. I'm here to serve, and we're all here to serve. So we want to continue working with you, and I want us to, my ground team, we're going to be hitting the floor, getting canvassing, door knocking, relational organizing. Bettelhem, get ready. I'm going to come for you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
And
thank you so much.
And gratitude. We have a meeting to go to, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to, Betty, if you allow me, thank you, Warnock. If you allow me, I want to recognize a few individuals that are attending.
Sure.
Is there a second DeKalb person, Teddy, you want to recognize? A second from DeKalb County, or Josephine?
Miss Betty Davis, I don't see her name on the list. I don't know. Joe, do you see her?
She's not here.
No,
okay,
no,
so
Betty's not there.
Okay, let me recognize one of our senior leader in the WECAN organization, Worldwide Ethiopian Civic Associations Network, who came up with the idea, who's supporting us with Dr. Gabayo, and his name is Ato Betru, and Ato Betru is in here. I've seen his name earlier. If you can unmute yourself, Ato Betru, I want to recognize you, and if you can say a few words. Betru GebreEgziAbhere. Ato Betru is a senior person. He used to be a VP for a bank. I think he's still working there. He's in Dallas, and he's a community organizer. He has done a lot of work for the diaspora community, especially in Ethiopian community, and also for the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Ato Betru, say a few words.
Thank you very much. I'm really impressed with the discussion and the professional presentations we had earlier. It is very, very important that our communities are so active and engaged in these elections, because there is a lot at stake. And I'm sure that the candidates we are supporting will win this race, but we need to take the relationship beyond the election and work together for the future relationship of Africa and the United States of America. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay. And next, is there anybody, Jonas, you want to recognize in the community?
I have seen Kone. Could you please introduce our brother Kone Fisseha?
Go to Kone. Kone is our our leader for the advocacy branch of WICAN. He's a member of our executive committee, and he is also a leader of the Ethiopian Community Association in Northern Virginia. Take it, my buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
If you think my voice is deep, wait for Kone. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is it's very awesome, and we are on the right track, engaging our community to, be part of the what's going around us. We're not just sitting as kind of diaspora, but we are part of our brothers in the U.S. and we have to be part of the change, and this is the right way. Advocacy is the right way. We'll keep this, we'll engage, we'll bring our community to go out and vote and bring the change we would like to happen in this country. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. We will keep doing this again and again. Thank you, Zeki.
Thank you, Kone. And Kone also has a good friend in Virginia. The Lieutenant Governor of Virginia is a good friend of his, notwithstanding his social life. But anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonas, anybody else?
Gash Merid.
Okay, Mr. Merid Bekelle. Mr. Merid is a communication specialist, a journalist, a senior, state minister in the previous administration. He runs a radio station. He's a brother of our dearest brother, Mr. Solomon Bekelle. May he rest in peace. And Ato Merid, please say a few words.
Wow, that's a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I don't expect that much.
We can't see you. I think you need to adjust your camera.
Oh. How about now?
Oh, now you look beautiful. I mean, you're very young.
Okay. Well, this is not young, but the heart is young.
Okay.
Deep at heart is young. Hello, everybody, and I wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for all of you. And I wish sincerely, let me take this opportunity to wish a very successful campaign for the three campaigners. Honestly, I don't have a shroud of doubt that they will be successful, and wish all of them a victory. And hopefully we'll celebrate 2 weeks from now their victory. With that said, this forum, honestly, this forum is a no-miss forum. I mean, any candidate, any person who has a people's cause can utilize this forum in order to air its mission, its objective ideas. So it's wise that all the candidates use this forum as a means to get their ideas across the people. And hopefully, as I said, they will be victorious. In the meantime, let me throw a question, Zach, if that is possible.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion that President Trump, the outgoing president, has a very low attitude towards Africa. You know what he said about Africa. I said something Africa.
Blink hole country.
Something, yeah. I don't want to. Okay. And lately now he called upon his Secretary of State Pompeo to look into and to make a thorough study about the land grab, the land seizure of blacks of the white lands. I mean, it's good that his term is coming to an end. It's a relief. So he lost, or Africa in particular, the world in general, lost the thrust of American foreign policy. Now the question is, how would Biden foreign policy would work in order to regain the U.S. Name or the U.S. policy? How would the Biden go ahead or look at the policy that Trump destroyed during the last 4 years? Again, wish all the candidates Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and a very good success campaign. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good.
Anybody else? Dr. Brook, you want to give it a shot to?
Yes, I think the topic I presented, and I would also like others to chip in. Let me chip in first. Ato Merid Tanastilling. It's good to see you after so many years. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's good to see you, sir. It's a great question. Well, yes, damage has been done, but shall I say, thank God, this damage is not eternal or it's not permanent.
That's right.
It is really sad that the good name of America, the good reputation of America, even recently and repeatedly, the public opinion polls, believe it or not, was done, Mr. Merid, in Africa, whom they favor and what they like, and it is sad. So it can be repaired. What Mr. Joe Biden would do is that it's better if he comes with his own foreign policy models or strategies, but there are already, as I say, the 14 previous administrations. They revolve around certain pillars of American foreign policy, and I expect that would be reinforced and in a very reinvigorated way be applicable. And definitely the first agenda of Mr. Joe Biden will be to go around to the European Union, to NATO, to Turkey, these key allies. And also he will draw the line about America's position regarding the Russian Federation, the interference in the election process of America, this abuse and misuse of cybersecurity, cyber warfare against America. And also I expect in his first year, if not in the first month, because there is this international hierarchy of power, definitely he will visit key 2, 3, 4 countries in Africa, and that will come. That definitely will come. And I think he was there right there 8 years under the Obama legacy, the Obama administration. And as I was trying to say, because lack of time, I couldn't say it in an expounded way. Obama was the one who had this African-American summit where 54 African heads of state and government were invited. And definitely Mr. Joe Biden will focus once again on Africa for many reasons, political reasons, economic reasons, oil, and also lithium and all the cobalt and strategic minerals. Africa is rich in that. And AGOA will be continued, trade, investment. There is competition against the Chinese. If America lets go the entire platform to China, there you go. America will lose big time. And also even competition with the European Union, Russia, they are setting foot in Africa. They have now military bases in Port Sudan. They have, believe it, in Suakin, near Port Sudan. They are also in Central African Republic. It's not only the Chinese, the Russians are on the move. So America has a whole lot of whole lot of homework to do by Mr. Joe Biden, at least to curtail and to once again, define the American foreign policy and to bring Africa on board, because Africa is too precious a continent with 54 countries. Can you imagine? Africa's voting bloc is 54 votes in the United Nations, 54 votes in the World Trade Organization, next to the WTO. The block of African as such is significant. And guess what? My brother Lemma was saying, repeatedly for the last 10 years before COVID, 7 of the 10 African countries had the fastest growing economies, including our own Ethiopia. So I think there is much. Africa is on the move. Economic things are at least moving. And I expect Mr. Joe Biden to jump on board and maybe have the right people and the right team regarding the National Security Council, State Department, the Pentagon, to have the right people, African experts, not paid lobbyists, but real African experts, to deal with bilateral and multilateral issues in Africa. Sorry for being a bit long, but that's how I see it, Mr. Ato Merid. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Okay, Betty, go transition to
I can briefly
campaign, please, and we might have some time at the end.
Can I intervene on this?
Come again?
Yeah, so
who is this?
First economic and second political. On the economic side, I kept on repeating today that the economic policy to Africa has been totally reactive. It's driven by other powers, especially China. So one thing that I've learned by being there for 5 years is that African countries wish very much to be dealing with the US and China and other countries at arm's length, because they have been growing, they have been reforming, and they have been showing results. And they don't want to be caught up in the pound of power game between China, Russia, and so on. That is very important. I think I've noticed that I've begun reading some of the reports coming from Joe Biden. I think he seems to be moving in that direction. And there was this thing called Prosper Africa that came up. I think the ambassador mentioned Prosper Africa. By the way, that is a reactive policy. All of a sudden, the US woke up and found out that China has taken over Africa.
Okay. John Bolton,
Yeah, what they came up with, which is pretty clever, what they said was, how do we integrate, how do we solidify institutions within the US so that they are capacitated to do better job dealing with African institutions? And then some 15 of them went to Maputo, Mozambique. There was Council on Africa conference, and they just showed up, basically to sign this agreement. But I have to tell you that the idea is okay, but it is self-serving and it is reactive, and I haven't really seen many results. By the way, you know what, that conference, that big conference building in Maputo was built by whom? China. So it's a big meeting in this Chinese building. On the political side, you know, to me, the stuff that we're going through now, the stuff that is somebody losing an election and not conceding is a huge negative for Africa. In fact, what I saw was, what I'm witnessing now is what I witnessed in Kenya. I was in Kenya when there was a transition taking place from Kenyatta and then Odinga. The same lingo, the same language, the same behavior. So what came very, very clear for me now is the fragility of American democracy. And in fact, if there were someone who is smarter and more polished than Trump, he could have actually pulled this off. Okay, so I think one of the biggest agenda items,
yes, he would have,
is to reform democracy, because this can go away. So that, by the way, it end up enabling all these dictators and all these who do not give up long term limits. So it became like a comfort for those who have been mismanaging and misgoverning Africa.
Okay, so thank you, Professor. We will have some time at the end. Betty, you need to learn how to stop professors when they speak.
But
thank you, Betty. Take it over for ASAF campaign. Thank you, Professor Senbet.
All right.
Ms. Bethlehem, you can give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yes,
go ahead. 30 seconds.
Okay. And
go ahead.
We all adults here, and anybody who figures that my language is bad, you can talk to me later. But for a U.S. president to talk about shithole countries, to block the appointment of temporarily of the African Development Bank person, to try to block the appointment of the most qualified candidate to the WTO, to put sanctions on the ICC representatives because he wanted to pardon these criminals who were terrorists who killed people in Iraq, to talk about genocide against people in Nigeria, to talk about South African whites whose land being taken when they still own 80% of the land. This is not only shameful and embarrassing. He sends his wife with a colonial hat to Kenya, arm-twisting countries.
Amen.
Threatening them to make relations with Israel. Maybe they want to do it on their own, but you should. That's not the diplomacy. We don't even know what Biden is going to find when they take over. And to undo some of these policies are going to be very, very difficult because of domestic politics. I don't think, it's going to be difficult look at the situation. I promoted democracy for 20 years. But look at the situation in Yemen. Most people, I appreciate what you said, Dr. Brook. Most people only look at sub-Saharan Africa. You can't understand Yemen or Sudan without looking at the relationships that exist. I mean, this guy who's the current Assistant Secretary of State tried to solve the problem with Sudan. The people, they don't want to hear anything about from somebody who's over sub-Saharan Africa. So we have to come with a perspective. And the older diaspora and the newer diaspora to try to say, this is what we think ought to be happening in Africa, and push Biden and hopefully Harris, whoever the Assistant Secretary of State for Africa is. Hopefully we can invite that person to Atlanta or on a screen like this to talk with us. I'm sorry, Ms. Bethlehem, for going too far, but this person who hopefully would be disappeared on January 20th at 12:01, is also the person who's saying that he's done more for Black people than Abraham Lincoln. And we just need to call these spades, and that ain't partisan. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Betty,
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Betty, could I have half a second?
Okay, Ms. Josephine, go ahead.
I just want to inject 333,000 people have died plus as of today.
Yes, ma'am.
That's blood on this administration's hand. We can't bring those people back. Also, this administration has executed, charged back up after 70 years and has executed more people in the last 30 days that's been executed in the last 70 years. Federal executions had pretty much stopped. And they're all people of color or women. That's on the ground now. That is what all of these policies are about, what all of these relationships are about. This man has killed knowingly. And it was us that he knew he was killing. It was brown people and Black people that he knew he was killing. My time's up.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and introduce Ms. Lorraine Johnston, please,
Okay.
Betty.
Thank you so much, everybody. I can see why this is so important. Everybody's passionate. It's a very important election. So let's make it happen. Let's go out and vote and get these two guys the Senate seat and Dr. Blackman as public commissioner. Thank you so much, everybody. Now we move on to the next person who's from John Ossoff campaign, the CAB Super District Commissioner, Ms. Lorraine Cochran Johnson. Ms. Johnson, are you available? Do you see her, Zeke?
I'm checking.
Okay.
I don't see her.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. Is there anybody else from Ossoff campaign can speak on behalf of Ossoff campaign?
Do we have our friend Shaggan, Mr. Yonas? Okay, we'll check with Ms. We'll check with Ms. Lorraine.
Ms. Commissioner. Yeah, I'm chatting with her.
Try her number.
For Dr. Kate, if he can speak.
Okay, we'll continue with our discussion. In the meantime, Jonas will wait for you. In the meantime, I want to recognize a couple of people from our community. And this is, she might not want to be recognized, but I just want to say thank you to Dr. Samia Abdulle Eskinder, my dear wife, for joining us to see what I do with my time. This is her first time attending this thing. Hopefully, we'll convince her to join us. She's a doctor of pharmacy, and she recruited all our kids into medical profession. And I want to recognize Ms. Tsigereda from New York. She has been joining us. She was here last time also. Tsigereda is a wonderful Ethiopian. She's always there, just like Jesus said, when there is one or two or three of you, I will be amongst yourself. If there is anywhere where we talk about Ethiopia and Africa and civic responsibility, you'll find Ms. Geda from New York. Take it. You have exactly 1.5 minutes. Go ahead. You have to unmute so we can hear you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. And what a great program we have today. I think this is going to be a home run between the two candidates and the volunteers here, and I think they're going to deliver. One thing in mind, that I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on in Ethiopia and the issue of the GERD. And I would hope, again, I'm going to mention the same thing what I have mentioned last week regarding the GERD, how far Mr. Azov and Reverend Warnock would push the issue that Ethiopia has the right to develop its own water. Ethiopians, women have the right to have access to electricity, no more carrying water from the river. And so that will develop the HDI, Human Development Index, to a better stance. Currently, we are, according to the UNDP, we are number 174 out of 186 countries. Therefore, I think it's in the interest of Africans in general to have also, my friend Professor Brook has mentioned earlier on the issue of national security. In Africa, it's Africans' interest to have a secured and peaceful Horn of Africa. So it's so important that the Biden administration that should invest in the area of influencing the big brokers, such as the United States itself, to convince Egypt and the Sudan to cooperate with Ethiopia to develop and finish up the project of the GERD, the Great Renaissance Dam. And secondly, if I have a second to say, I would like to add that African youth, I think 50% are unemployed and 60% are underemployed currently. It has everything to do with how the internal and democratic policies that the US is pushing, and it's no longer accepting the Monroe Doctrine that the US would not intervene anymore. The US is intervening socially, economically, and politically. Therefore, we need to pressure again or work with the Biden government to really have African countries have access to their own resources. Right now, they're being controlled by, if I'm not saying this is, what do you call that, colonialism, but indirect colonialism is going on as we see it as in DRC, which is the richest country in Africa with $28 trillion wealth of minerals, which is the GDP of the US and the UN, the US and EU together. So how do we develop that and getting help from the US? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Jonas, any word from the commissioner for Bekelle? Okay, you're still on the phone. That's good. I'm going to recognize quickly for 30 seconds Dr. Yonas Geda from Arizona. And he asked me a question whether 1.3 billion for the military for Egypt and 700 million for the Sudan. It was in the bill, in the 900 billion. It is in that bill. Tsehai from Arizona, and Dr. Gawayi is also here, your compatriot from Arizona. And then I'll recognize to Yilma Zerihun. Go ahead, Dr. Yonas.
Thank you very much, Engineer. I'm not involved in political activities, but Engineer Hezekiel convinces me to attend any meeting. He's very persuasive. So I'm a professor of psychiatry and neurology. I'm an Ethiopian and an American as well. I'm just really puzzled that $1.3 billion has been set aside for Egypt, and $700 million is set aside for Sudan. This is included in the COVID-19 relief. So number one, I don't understand how Egypt is related to COVID-19 relief. And really, Egypt is a regional bully. And Sudan, there is also a growing tension there, a potential military dictatorship. So I think this is a little bit puzzling. I hope these two items will be reversed or deleted when Biden takes office.
Thank you. Both of them have condition, by the way. I'll send you a copy of the 5,500 page bill, which nobody read. In any event, Ato Yilma, he's our executive committee member for WECAN from Dallas. He's also a member of the WECAN, the Water Council there for GERD. Go ahead, Ato Yilma, say a few words.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Eskinder. And also, thank you, all the guests and subject matter experts. I've been listening earnestly to the presentation. I really don't have much to say except that we're learning increasingly about the American politics, and what is a winner undoubtedly is coming together in the side of the people who are always marginalized and always get the short end of the stick. The way to combat this is to support our African-American brothers and all foreigners that need to lobby, one, for American politics as well as the politics going on in their home countries. I've heard the Black American friend refer to what the President of the United States called Africa, the S nations. So this is really unfortunate, and then we need to come together to really challenge all these references that put our continent into financial.
We can barely hear you, Ato Yilma.
Well, you tell me now after I've been speaking. It's
good. It's
okay.
Going.
Anyway, I think I'm done. If you've heard a little bit, that's enough. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hezekiel, can I add a word?
Yes.
This is Betru.
Yes.
Yeah, regarding the Renaissance Dam, Tsigereda raised, I just want this group.
Could you explain to them what the GERD is? Most people don't know that.
Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which has been under construction, and the first filling has been completed. I think this gives a unique opportunity for our new president to restore, to start restoring America's status in Africa by simply restoring the non-partisan stand of this country in the negotiations regarding the GERD. You all know what the current president did. Actually, it was a very dangerous move. On a telephone conversation, he indicated that Egypt should blow up the dam. and leave alone from a world leader, this kind of escalating conflict between two African countries is not expected from an ordinary citizen of the United States. So this is a low-hanging fruit for Mr. Biden. He can start in his first 100 days as a president simply by restoring an nonpartisan position on the negotiation and supporting all the three countries to come up with amicable resolution so that the dam is completed as scheduled and peacefully resolved whatever issues they are negotiating. I just wanted to throw this because it's very relevant to this group, and that's what we expect from senators who get our support.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Betru. For those of you who are not familiar with Nile politics, the water that ends up in the Mediterranean Sea that has been feeding Egypt since time immemorial, about 86% of it comes from the Ethiopian highlands. Okay, somebody raised his hand.
Yeah,
is that Dr. Who?
Engineer Geda.
Go ahead, Yonas.
This is me, Yonas. Someone is here for John. Handy is.
Yes, that's actually me, guys. Lorraine apparently texts Jonah.
Commissioner told me that speak behalf of John also.
Yes, I would. I'm honored. Again, you guys have heard enough from me all night tonight, but I'm also honored to be one of John's surrogates. I didn't say that earlier because I didn't want to interfere with the program, but I want to just.
I knew you were a double agent. Go ahead.
John's focus, as is Reverend Warnock and Daniels. You see this poster, health, jobs, and justice. And I think those three things sum up what this new administration is also going to be about. Health. We have nothing unless we have good health. Even when the other side talks about wanting to save your health benefits because you have a job. Well, now, the world just about is unemployed, so nobody has a job. Nobody has health. So it's important that health becomes available, good health care becomes available to all people. Jobs, 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 jobs. But jobs that pay a decent, livable wage. Here in Georgia, you know that the minimum income is $5.25. $5.25
per hour.
Where? Per hour.
Yeah.
I know this from having been in retail for 45 years. And Georgia has the law that they can fire you at will without cause. They don't have to give you a reason to tell you you're fired. So $15 minimum wage across the board is one of the things that the Ossoff campaign, the Warnock campaign, the Biden campaign, the Democratic campaign has. Justice. Justice for all. Not justice for some. And equal, honest administration of the law. We just had a president that pardoned murderers that shot babies in the brain. They weren't part of anything. They weren't part of a war. They weren't part of a demonstration. They were simply driving along the street in an area in Baghdad, and all of a sudden these people open fire on them. I heard on MSNBC the other night, had they been in the military, they would have been federally court-martialed and probably executed themselves for what they did to those innocent people. Right here in the United States, I heard Daniel mention education, third grade education. Our children are targeted in the third grade, pipelined to prison. Prisons here in the United States are pretty much now privately owned. And guess who owned them? So they start out with our children in the third grade, making sure they have product to fill their prisons by the time they're 15 and 16 years old. Systemic inequity on all of these fronts: health, jobs, and justice. It's no accident that poor people, undernourished people, are unhealthy and dying now from not only the old-fashioned diseases, diabetes, heart problems, high blood pressure, but now it's COVID. These are the three pillars of the Ossoff, Warnock, and Daniel Blackman campaign: health, jobs, and justice. And I can honestly say, I know for a fact these three gentlemen will work hard for this Georgia and the United States and arguably the world. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Josephine.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Betty.
I love her passion.
Anybody?
I have something to say.
Dr. Tsehai, take over.
Did we hear somebody wanting to interject?
Yeah, go ahead. Did you raise your hand?
Yes.
No.
Somebody said I have something to say. Who is that?
Go ahead, Dr. Tsehai.
No. I'm here to close the meeting, so you better step up.
No, we have a few questions and a few.
Are we still waiting from Ms. Johnson or anybody from Ossoff's campaign?
No, Betty, no. I just did that for Lorraine. She had a mix-up in her calendar today.
Perfect.
She went to the event earlier and thought that was where she was supposed to be. And now she's in a meeting that she can't get out of.
Okay,
so she asked Jonah to ask me to speak on Ossoff and her behalf.
Thank you. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
If you have any questions, maybe you can entertain, but let me just recognize a couple of people, if you allow me. To Teferi Cherinet, if you can unmute yourself. He is a Georgian. I've known him for the last almost 30 plus years. And he's also actively worked with the Ethiopian Community Association. To Teferi Cherinet, the father of Abbay Cherinet and Beshah, husband of Rubka. Could you say a few words of wisdom to us, please?
Thank you very much.
Unmute yourself.
Mr. Eskinder, do you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the Ethiopian community and We Can group to get this organized and make it a wonderful stage where by educational ideas can be put on stage, and also it's a wonderful place where we can rally each other so that we can get to the community so that people vote for what they believe in. This is a very good stage, and I would like to thank you for that. But always I think of, the Democrats. We like the Democrats simply because they are very close to what the needs of the people are. And unfortunately, I don't have the confidence that they have the means to communicate throughout the United States. Like the suburbs, they don't have the means to hear what the Democrats are saying. So I wish if we had all the candidates for the Senate and the Congress were here, I would have to really advocate for them to have the communication means so that they have access to all Americans and not only to the cities. That's how, whenever there is an election, the Democrats are in the cities and the Republicans go beyond that. It's simply because they have the means to sell their ideas to all the Americans. And I wish the Democrats compete in that media. It's very, very important. Unless you sell your ideas, your support will be diminished. And you don't have to bother yourself, only rallying people around the cities. You have to try to cover it. Anyways, I'm sure these three gentlemen will win, and we will have a better administration for the coming 4 years. Thank you for the opportunity, and I admire what you two people groups are doing, the Ethiopian community in Atlanta, and yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. You covered for Saba also. There's one
yes, we can.
I want to recognize one person, but I want to give Dr. Tsehai and Betty and Yonas, if there are any people attending here from Georgia you want to recognize. I'm planning to recognize Engineer Demessie from Cleveland, Dr. Manas and Lejnabias. After you are done with your recognition, Dr. Tsehai and Yonas and Betty. If there's anybody who wants to recognize.
I don't have anybody else. Yonas and Dr. Tsehai, go ahead whenever you're ready.
First, give Teddy. He want to say something, and Dr. Tsehai will continue.
Okay. I just want to say a couple of words. As you know, majority of our community live in DeKalb County. Now, Hezekiel has exposed unmasked Josephine, is that she's no longer a double agent. We want the CEO of the tournament to attend or at least send a representative. I have tried to get somebody from his office, but I was not able to do so. He was very busy during the COVID issues and other issues. So I want to ask Josephine to help us with this one, so that the next meeting will be we'll have some representative from his office. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. We are also trying
is that next meeting planned for January the 3rd? Did I hear?
Yes, exactly the same time, from 6 to 8:45. The same schedule. Blackman and Warnock and Asaf.
Okay.
The same schedule. Yeah. But
we don't need any representative, but we need themselves to be attend our meeting. Warnock and Jonas and the DeKalb County CEO.
Okay. Anybody else? Professor Tsehai and Jonas? Okay, while you're thinking, I want to give the point. Go ahead, Dr. Tsehai. Professor Tsehai.
I have nobody else to recognize here, so when my next sentence is to gavel the meeting to close. So if anybody has any last point?
I need to recognize Engineer Demessie, the father of the two youngsters who have been working with us, Dr. Mana and Lij Nabiat. They used to be called Engineer Demessie's daughter and son. Now he's being introduced as their father. So, go ahead, Aklilou Demessie. Engineer Aklilou. Say a few words.
Okay, it's a very good initiative that our community has started. I think we...
No video?
No video because I have a bad hairdo.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
You didn't have any the last time I saw you. Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. I mean, there is strength in unity, and to the extent that we are united with our brothers and sisters from across the state of Georgia, we can make this thing happen. And once the two senators are elected, then we can hold the Biden administration accountable on all the things we need. We have started this session. We can continue to grow, and in the future, this kind of political, if you want to call it that, group is necessary in order to effect changes that is necessary both for the diaspora community as well as for Ethiopia. And so I would like to extend my sincere appreciation and to all the organizers of this activity, and to the extent that I can be called upon without being seen on the video, I'll be happy to help in any way I can. I know that my children are contributing. Thank you.
Next time I will give you an hour notice, not 1 minute notice, Aklilou. Thank you very much, and give my regards to your family. And of course, last but not least, I want to, if Yasin is still here, he's been live streaming it on Abbay Media on Facebook. And do you want to say hi, Yasin? Yasin has been, Abbay Media and Yasin has been very helpful in most of our projects with we can in the Ethiopian communities. Are you there, Yasin?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Are we going to see you, or are you going to also claim to have a bad hairdo?
Well, no. You don't have
any hair, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so if you want, send them to Dr. Tsehai.
No one else wants to interject? I thought Yasin was going to say something.
Well, I have nothing much to say. As Abbay Media, we want to help the Ethiopian community. We are here for you whenever there is. We try our best to cover events that are somehow connected to Ethiopian community. And of course, our supporters are also from this community. We are a media, we are a non-profit organization here in the US. And we have also a media studios in Ethiopia. We are registered as a media company in Ethiopia. Visit our website, visit us on YouTube, subscribe. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. I'm excited to see here everybody. I'm excited everyone is active in this election. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
One last word, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I think you need to let go of the presenters. I think we're still waiting humbly and politely to be released. But anyhow, on a serious note, that's on a sort of non-serious. On a serious note, everything is local, and I would like to commend our compatriots in the Ethiopian diaspora in Georgia, really. What you do is wonderful. It needs to be replicated and taken as an example and as a case by all Ethiopians, wherever we might reside, because we have always two options. As long as we make America our country, As long as we live here for decades and decades, we need either to run if time and energy and interest allows us, or to support each other and get into the system. That's how the system really changes and moves. So what Georgia does is wonderful. We want to be replicated in North Carolina, Ohio, California, Colorado. I know they do a lot. We are being more engaged. We need to be more engaged. Especially we need to work on our local support group, and that's the African American group, and that I find it to be very wonderful and very strategic. So, Mr. Chair, Engineer Hezekiel Eskinder, thank you for the kind, short notice, but kind invitation to share my thoughts with you guys. And we also meet in other avenues as well. And I wish you all the best. We can, whatever you do, rest assured you have our support wherever we might be. And it's great to know you guys. Thank you, Dr. Tsigereda, and the whole hour of Ethiopian compatriots. Good night.
Thank you, Professor Senbet. Do you want to say the party words before I give the gavel to Dr. Tsehai and Professor Keith, Dr. Jennings? The party remarks. Okay.
I just want to say thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, except to second my friend Ambassador. I think I agree with everything. I saw a lot of energy here, and I saw a lot of hope for change. And I think this is going to make a difference. And this is the first time that I participated with this group, and very short notice.
Lemma, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Jennings.
Yes, I'll be quick. I just wanted to extend apologies for my colleague Helen Butler. She'll try to join us on the 3rd. She's executive director of the Georgia Coalition on the People's Agenda, which has built very strong relationships between the civil rights community and the Ethiopian community. That fell off a little, but we're going to build that back up. So I see this as a beginning and not as an end. And I think there are many other people in the African American community who see the need for the diaspora and writ large to have more relations and mutually beneficial relations. So just count on me as a representative for now. Once we're past January 5th, I think there are many more possibilities in the areas that we could collaborate. And I'd like to already put a marker down that we need to have a forum on U.S. foreign policy towards Africa, something that we can really talk through. And I look forward to it. By the way, Dr. Brook, say hello to my colleague, James Steele at North Carolina A&T. Yes.
Yeah, we were together. We are at it, actually. Get the votes out there. We're working real hard, and we need to collaborate, Dr. Jennings. And
yes, sir.
You have my support in that, and especially addressing the young people and motivating them to be engaged.
That's the key question.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. And I also want to recognize Dr. Professor Lemma W, who's Dr. Brook's colleague at State. And do you want to say hi, Muli?
I want to say hi, but I want to thank you, Zeke. And I want to thank
what's your major area? Is it something to do with genetics? Something? Could you tell us?
So I'm an academician. I'm in molecular genetics.
Molecular genetics.
Looking at food security, but I am really happy to be part of this group. I would like to really congratulate and thank Betelhem and all the women that are engaged in this effort. I know they represent a group that is powerful, but as Dr. Brook says, and he's my neighbor around the corner, so I get to hear from him, but we need to engage our youth, and but mostly just to thank Zeke for being an inspiration of putting this together. I appreciate the opportunity. Talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the sake of this. For the sake of disclosure, Professor Lemma W is my cousin. Thank you, Muli.
And Tava's my sister, Zeke.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Tsehai. If you don't put a stop to it, this thing is not going to end. I appreciate everybody for cooperation. We have one more event on January 3rd. We'll see you then.
You sure you want me to close it? You seem to be having a great time.
Go ahead.
I do want to say one thing. I'll be like 30 seconds. I think Dr. Demessie, you did a great job raising two great adults who are working very hard.
Engineer Demessie, don't you?
I'm sorry, Engineer Demessie.
Engineers by calling us doctors.
Okay, thank you. I may not have this opportunity again, so I want to thank you for I want to thank Engineer Demessie for doing a great job raising two great kids. They're doing a great job. Like they say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So I appreciate the work you've done with them. Both of them are very excellent people. I love what they do. The energy, the positivity, they're out there helping us with this effort. And I want to thank you for the great job that you've done with your kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll transmit your message to them. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. We can bring it.
Have a nice holiday.
We can buy and bring it if you don't have time.
All right, I think it's my turn now. I'm gonna assert myself, and I just want to, Dr. Brook, before you turn me up, I want to thank you for showing up here, and Dr. Lemma, you too.
My pleasure.
And Dr. Jennings, you didn't only attend and participate and make a presentation, but you took time to prepare thought-provoking notions, thought-provoking ideas. The format we had here is that in the end, politicians are to work on developing public policy, which is in the interest of their constituency, and you are helping us cast what is in the interest of this particular constituency as it relates to this current election. And we thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who attended here. I'd like to thank one more time, my two leaders, and Hezekiel and Yonas. Thank you both. You're tireless leaders, and I appreciate what you do. And I think Hezekiel already announced our last event will be next on the 3rd, which is on a Sunday, I think. And then we will celebrate a few days later. We get together, we can actually officially show each other what kind of beer we drink. Thank you all again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye, guys. Happy New Year. Malcolm Addis Ahmed. Malcolm Ganda.
Thank you. Yes. Happy New Year.
Good night.
Good luck to all the candidates. Hopefully you all will win and will celebrate.
Yes, sir.
No question about it.
Yep. Let's go out and vote. Thank you, everybody.
Bethlehem, call me.
Yes, ma'am.
Night,
Yes, ma'am.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I'll leave the chat room open if you want to copy the chat rooms or leave messages, leave your contact. Be my guest.
Big thank you for Abbay Media, my brother Hassan. Thank you for participating our meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I wish you had said that before I stopped the live stream. You said it just after I stopped it.
I will do next.
Next time we'll announce the fundraising.
We'll do next week.
I mean, Hezekiel ሲጠይቅ እምቢ ማለት አይቻልም።
ስሙ ማን እንደሆነ ታውቃለህ? ትላንታ ስሙ መብረቁ ነው።
መብረቁ በእውነት ማይ ጋድ